Hello and welcome. My name is Jay Kohler, Executive Director with Wells Fargo Commercial Cards. I'm sitting here today with Tony West, who is the Treasurer at Chewy. Tony, could you tell us a little bit about yourself and your role at Chewy?
Sure, Jay. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here today. In my role as treasurer, my focus is on ensuring that the business has access to efficient capital and in a timely manner. In order to achieve this, my team and I are focused on executing on our liquidity playbook. This involves managing external relationships with strategic banks such as Wells Fargo, as well as the rating agencies, and executing on delivering a rigorous cash flow forecast.
Could you tell me a little bit more about your relationship between Chewy and Wells Fargo?
Sure, it's a fantastic relationship. The Wells Fargo-Chewy relationship goes back to the founding of our business, but today it has evolved. Today, Wells Fargo is the joint lead arranger for our $800 million revolving credit facility. Wells Fargo is also our primary cash management bank, and Wells Fargo is very involved in helping us with our working capital improvement initiatives.
Thanks, and we do appreciate the business as well. What do you look for in a banking partner?
Well, first, the matching of capabilities and scale is prerequisite. And we look for banking partners that match not just where we are today, but where we want to go in the future. The other really important thing that we like to focus on is the people. To be honest with you, it's the people that make the difference. We're always looking for banks that have thought leaders that we can tap into, innovators. You know, we have a very small treasury team, and the way that we can leverage our resources is through these relationships with the bank. The third thing that's really important to us is a matching of values. At Chewy, we're a principle-based company. Our operating principles are the foundation for how we get things done and how we behave. And so it's important that a bank's values can match with ours. And so, I applaud Wells Fargo for its 172 plus year history. You're only able to do that if you are founded in principles. I think you guys call them expectations. And the last thing that's important to us is we need our banks to collaborate with other firms, other banks. Often we are syndicating deals and we look for banks that are going to work well together. And so those are the things that are very important to us.
Excellent. No, I couldn't agree more with what you're saying. When you're thinking about liquidity, right, and also managing liquidity risk, what are some of the key things that you're looking for when you're kind of considering that within your team?
Sure. Well, I mentioned that we have a revolving credit facility. It has a variable interest rate. So my team and I are paying attention to what's happening with interest rates. Chewy now has a business outside of the US, so we're paying attention to what's happening in the currency markets. Now, these risks aren't large or significant today, but it's important that we build that muscle when we can and not when we have to.
So thinking about Chewy and your liquidity and your liquidity risk, how do commercial cards be part of that suite of services that you're using to benefit your liquidity positions?
Sure. The commercial card program is very important to us. It is really important that we have a well-functioning and resilient supply chain. And one of the things I really enjoy about the corporate card program that you guys offer and other working capital initiatives is that they enable these what I call multidimensional wins. So often without them, we may find ourselves negotiating with other stakeholders. But with the card program, it gives us more flexibility. For instance, we can optimize our payment terms with the card program, but at the same time, it gives our stakeholders the flexibility to receive payment earlier. And so that's an example of how inserting the bank into those interactions enables a triple win for everyone involved.
So as a large e-commerce company, how do you use working capital to help fund your growth?
It's one of the remarkable aspects of the Chewy story. So what we have been able to do is build what is today now a top 3 direct-to-consumer e-commerce fulfillment center network. And we have been able to do this by maximizing our working capital. We have not yet borrowed any external funds to build that network. We optimize our working capital has enabled us to build this fantastic fulfillment network that further enables us to satisfy our customers.
That's great. So if you were to go back and you're going to be setting up your program for the first time, or for another company that would be setting up a new commercial card type program, what would be the things you would want to do initially?
I think it's important for a company to not just understand what are the benefits for that individual company, but it's to understand how everyone in their ecosystem benefits. Because in doing that, when we understand how we're able to accrue more value or create more value for our suppliers, and then we understand how that turns into more value for our customers, and knowing not what's just in it for us, but how does everyone else benefit.
Yeah, wonderful. What's the greatest value, if you just pick one thing, for the commercial card program?
Sure. In a word, I would say flexibility. But to answer your first question, from where I sit, all of the funding requirements are equally important. We have a mantra on our team where we try to deliver flawless execution. So whether it is making payments for payroll or suppliers or repurchasing shares or executing on an acquisition, we need to deliver flawless execution. Now, the corporate card program and the other working capital initiatives, they give us the flexibility to be able to achieve those goals and objectives a little easier.
So yeah, if we zoomed out a little bit, right, we talked more about general banking with Wells Fargo. How would you describe that relationship and the benefits that you get today?
Our relationship evolves and adapts. First we were a pure play e-commerce company in the United States. Now we have taken the value proposition outside of the US. Wells Fargo has been a part of helping us with that. I'm super excited about our next step into Chewy vet care practices with veterinarians and how that's taking our business from not just e-commerce, but now we're going into the brick and mortar three-dimensional space and now dealing with physical cash. And so, in a word, the Wells Fargo relationship has been adaptive as our business evolves. Wells Fargo has been a big part of helping us to do that. So there are tons of things that we're doing to deepen that relationship. And from where I sit, you can see it in the numbers. One of the ways that we can measure this is through a metric we call NSPAC, which stands for net sales per active customer. And that continues to grow over time as we deepen our relationships with our customers.
I think Wells Fargo too, like we're always looking to innovate as well in the banking sphere. So in thinking about innovation and the different products that we offer, can you think of any examples where Wells Fargo's been able to partner with Chewy in order to make sure that the products and solutions we're developing are going to work well for your business and businesses that are like yours?
A really simple example of that is I call it your upgrade to the Wells Fargo Vantage portal. The system is very user-friendly. It's easier for teams to get caught up to speed on training. And the system actually helps us achieve compliance. As you know, with KYC and AML, there's a lot of documentation that's required. And it's really fantastic to be able to use that product or that system or portal to help us achieve compliance easier.
Thanks, Tony, for your time today. I appreciate you stopping by to chat with us a little bit, talk about Chewy's success. We wish you a lot of luck in the future going forward and appreciate your partnership working with Wells Fargo. Thanks for joining us today. Global Treasury Management products and services are provided by Wells Fargo Bank, N.A. Wells Fargo Bank, N.A. is a bank affiliate of Wells Fargo and Company. Wells Fargo Bank, N.A. is not liable or responsible for obligations of its affiliates. Deposits held in non-U.S. branches, subsidiaries, or affiliates are not FDIC or CDIC insured. Deposit products are offered by Wells Fargo Bank, N.A. Member FDIC.